Hey everybody, I'm just here today to make some modifications on my DJI FPV and figured, you know what, I'd turn the camera on and go ahead and just document it, make a little video out of it. This video would be more for beginners who have purchased this quad and want to protect it the best they can. It's going to break regardless, but you can protect it to where maybe it doesn't break so bad. It's not a total loss. I like to fix all my own quads. I've never used DJI Care Refresh. I fix all my own. I fix everybody else's. I fix a ton of quads. I'm working on quads every day. That's just what I do. But if it's a complete total loss, obviously I'm going to use my Care Refresh. So I've never done that yet, and hopefully I won't have to with this. But this is all very easy to work on, replacing the parts. And as long as you don't crash it to where it's a complete, like, it's just not worth it to buy all the parts and put on it, then you use your DJI Care Refresh. But for you beginners who don't know about these accessories, who are interested in getting these accessories, that's all I'm doing today, is I'm putting all these things on to protect my quad. I'm going to go ahead and do prop adapters. I'll show you everything really. I've got the prop adapters. These are from DroneWorks. And I'll put links to everything in the description of the video. I'm switching out the props. I went with the Spitfire, the Dow props, Dow prop Spitfire propellers. These are just a hair over 5-inch props. I forgot who it was who influenced me to go with these. I want to say maybe it was Joshua Bardwell. There's several different props I'll probably change that were recommended. I got a recommendation from original Dobokin, and then these I think were Josh, and then somebody else. Watching other people's channels and just them being influencers influenced me to buy the same props. So I'm going to start out with the Dow props and see how those go. And then once I get a feel for how they are, then I'll try some other ones, and then that way I'll be able to compare the difference. But we're going to do those. We're going to, for protection, we're going to go with these arm braces, and I held off on putting these on because I wanted to see how everybody else would do with these. And the reason why I wanted to hold off is the purpose is they'll absorb, having these arms connected, they'll absorb more of the shock. But I wanted to see other people who have crashed theirs, how it fared with those on there. And the only concern I had was, at the time, not knowing exactly how strong these joints are, adding that arm brace, taking a hit, will also take out this leg as well if these joints aren't good, secure joints. Turns out they are. And I've seen enough crashes with the braces that I'm confident it will help in your minor crashes. You're going to have a big crash, you're just going to break shit up, and that's all there is to it. So we're putting those braces on. We're going to go ahead and put this guard on the front. I guess they call it a drone gimbal bumper. So we're going to put that on the front, and that's going to be pretty much it for the quad, except for this battery protector. Really, it's just going to stop me from scratching up the bottom of my battery. Usually I hand catch this. I bring it in and I hand catch it, but if you're sitting there with your goggles on and you need to hurry up and bring it in, you're going to plop it down onto some asphalt or maybe some rocks, and then that will end up skidding up the bottom rubber tabs you have on these batteries, and then you'll wear those down. So I'd rather wear down a cover that protects all that. Then the other thing I got is just these little storage compartments or bins or whatever you want to call them for my props, for my spare props. So let's go ahead and do it. But I think the biggest thing for anybody is doing the conversion for your props. And the only reason I say the biggest thing is a lot of people don't know if it's not marked. They don't know what prop goes where. So one thing is, if they weren't marked, this style prop that spins on and locks, one way to know the proper prop is when you spin them and lock them, it's turning clockwise, the prop turns counterclockwise. The other thing is, take the high end of your pitch, that's going to be the direction of rotation. So if you just don't know the rotation of your props, period, and when you want to go back to putting all this back together, I recommend you take a picture of it with your phone. That way you have a picture to know that the red markings are here and the non-marked ones are here. Red marking here, non here. But another real simple one too is, while you're taking them apart, simply place them exactly where they came from. So whenever you do any type of work on something that you're not familiar with and you're doing it for the very first time, just like when I take a drone apart for the very first time, I mark stuff. I set them with the components they came off with, or take pictures, things like that. So we're going to do one motor, and then once I do that conversion, I'll speed up the video for the rest, and then we'll move on to this bumper here, and then the arm braces. So let's do this one. It's 3 screws. I think they are 1.5 millimeter. Definitely, they are. The screws that come with the adapters are the same size, of course, 1.5 millimeters. And I actually think the guard, I think all the screws for the guard are all 1.5 as well. So it's 3 screws you're going to take off. And then when you take these off, remember, first take a picture if you need to, so you know where to put this back, because once you take these off, your markings are gone. But when you take these off, remember there's a spring right here. Take that spring off. When you put this all back together, the spring has to go on first, because this sets down over top of it and locks that spring in place. Don't make the mistake of putting this on and then just setting your spring on top. It's going to make it a lot tighter, and you're also going to lose that spring. So let's move that, and let's grab one. None of these have a direction to them. First I was thinking maybe they would be directional, maybe there would be a left and a right, but it didn't come with any instructions or anything. It didn't say anything. All of them are normal thread screws, no reverse thread. So that leads me to believe they are all exactly the same, but let's just look at them real quick. I didn't pay that much attention to them. But they have, the nuts on them are nylock, so they go on tight and they will stay tight. But yeah, there's no markings between the two. There's no difference. They both are normal thread. Yeah, so all of them are the same. They put 2 in one bag, 2 in another bag to make that's why it raised the question. Maybe one's reverse thread, but that's not the case. So let's take this nut off, put that aside, and let's put this baby down here. And it simply just lines up over the holes. They come with their own screws. So you don't reuse the screws that came off. Once you take everything off from stock, go ahead and just place that all in a baggie. And they come with a little set of wrenches. We'll go ahead and use those. I didn't grab my ratchet tool. I just have all my Allens. So let's put this on, and then like I said, once we get this all on, we will do the rest in a fast forward. I'm going to leave the first screw loose, put all 3 screws on and then snug them up. I did not magnetize this. Just loose. Okay. So now I can go around and tighten all 3. We're not going to use great force to where we snap them, but we are going to just torque them all down, and I'm going to continue going around and making sure they're all tight a second time. Probably would be better to use a regular Allen wrench. That way you get a feel of the torque that you're putting on. It's a little easier that way. So let's grab one of these dowel props, and the correct one. Let's see if I got the correct one. Nope, that's the wrong one. They have an arrow of rotation on them, so this one's showing me it turns that way. I need one that turns that way. And that's this one. Yes. Yep. So we're going to just put that on, and that one they actually fit loose. Other ones, some of them are a little tight, and you have to basically tighten them. I mean, that's real strong from what I've seen other people. Like you're actually threading the prop, but not the case with these. So we'll put these on. Now, the adapter has a place to put your little wrench, your little tool here, but I'm not sure we have the clearance. Yeah, we do. So this looks kind of funny doing it this way, but I guess you guys can see. You definitely will want to use this, but probably a ratchet would be better for this top one. But this is what it came with, so we'll go ahead and use it. I wasn't prepared anyhow, so I didn't grab mine. These are tight because they're nylock, and that really does grab onto the thread. If you add any type of a thread locker or Loctite, you want to use the medium blue, nothing more than that. And make sure they're good and tight. We don't want a prop to spin out. And that's it. That's the conversion for that. So I'll give you a little, see if we can get that into focus better. A bit in front of the camera there. It's not doing it. There you go. So there it is. And you can get different colors, of course, now. The other ones I'm getting, I'm going to try the candy cane. I forgot what the other ones were, but there's other ones I'm going to try. So I'm going to go ahead and put these other ones on. We'll fast forward all this. And I probably should have put the, no, it doesn't matter. I was going to say I probably should have put the braces on first, but you can do that with the props on, it looks like. So let's go ahead and put all these on and fast forward. Okay, so one thing I did was when I put these on, I'm going to loosen this one up. I turn the props to get access to all the Allen screws. These Allen screws that are down here on the motor bells. That way I can check them from time to time with an Allen wrench to make sure that they are torqued down properly. So these ones are on correct, and these ones are on correct. So all set with those. Now let's go ahead and put on the arm braces. So you definitely want to not use both these wrenches. It's when you're tightening down, the props get in the way. You do want to use a ratchet, I think. But for this bottom nut on the motor bell, you definitely want to put a wrench on that, and then maybe a ratchet type tool or a socket head on something like this. So this is definitely not the preferred way to go. So let's go with the arm braces. Put those babies on. And notice that, you know, I've got mine kind of plain color. Now the props are about the most colorful thing on it. I don't like that green. Here it is. I don't really like that green. Maybe I'll paint that. I'm not much into painting it and skins and all that. It's just not my thing. So the props are probably about as bright as this baby will get. Maybe I will paint the cover, I'm not sure. So we got a couple screws in here, and then these little brace pieces. Does it say left or right? Yeah, left. So this goes on like that over the leg, and that is not correct. This is my left, and that's got an L on it, but I don't think that was correct. Nope, that is correct. The pitch just doesn't seem right. Does it go? Let's pop it on there. It just feels like I'm kind of forcing it to. Oh, I see. It's going to have to slide over that LED, and then, okay. It felt like it was really wrong. So they actually snap over those LEDs pretty tight, like that. And then that will hold itself, and then this baby here goes on. So looking at the way the screws are, it looks like this one goes here, and I'll show you. I'll do a close up here and show you guys how these are going on. Yeah. So if you look here in the back, right there's a little notch. This bracket has a little section. Right here. That goes in that notch. And the way they're shaped, there's only going to be one that you can use. So let's get it in there. And then we'll get the screw. And let's see if it's the same size. Nope. It's going to be... That screw is a 2 millimeter, I think. Yeah. And that's going to screw in from the bottom because the threads are on the piece I just snapped on. So it will thread from down here, underneath. Get that all tightened up. There, now it's going. Just snug it up real good. It doesn't need to be gorilla tight. And And the other one should go a little easier now that I know exactly how it goes. You'll feel like you're forcing it, but it's not as bad as it feels. And definitely easier to do before you do the props, but we didn't do that, so no biggie. We can still do it. Okay. And that's on. So now let's put this piece on exactly like we did the other one. Get our screw. Go from the bottom. It's not lining up. Getting it to initially line up is the fun part. Okay, now it's going. A lot of threads on this little baby. Is it all the way? There we go. Okay, so our arm braces are on. Whip this baby around. Do what you want. It's a funny look. It's very strange looking with those on. Training wheels, if you will. But there it is. So now let's put this front piece on. We are going to be red and yellow now, so it's going to be the Ronald McDonald quad. Maybe I need to get me a Ronald McDonald sticker. But we're going to take these. And the good thing is your gimbal protector cover will still work perfectly fine with that guard on there, with what they call a bumper guard. So with that on there, from what I've seen, the gimbal cover is not obstructed at all. So let's put these screws aside. Okay, so for some reason my camera just stopped recording. Some reason would be not emptying my memory card. So let's continue on here and take these screws out. All the stock screws, they do have a little bit of blue medium Loctite on them. The screws that come with the new bumper guards do not have any Loctite, so I'm not going to tighten these all the way down. I'm going to go back after this video and put on a little bit of blue medium Loctite. Again, don't tighten these screws all the way down. Just get them all in there. That way your holes all line up, and then you can go and tighten them down. Now these bottom ones, this is probably going to be too big. Yeah, it gets in the way. So I'm going to need an Allen wrench, which hopefully this is the right size, I think. Close enough. I'll turn it around and show you once I'm all done, because this part I can't do and have it turned around for the camera. And I'm not using my typical camera that I shoot down whenever I'm doing these little tutorials. This was just a last minute idea I had once I was getting ready to do it. I figured, go ahead and just turn on the camera and record it. So let's start tightening all these down. Like I said, I'm not gonna snug them up real tight, because I'm gonna go back and do Loctite after this. So we'll just get them enough to where they're on there. All right, they are on. So the front bumper, I'll just bring it up close so you can see the screws. 2 screws in the top, 2 in the bottom. It's on there. And then, like I said before, this should go on just fine. Line up that top and then push the bottom on. Yep, goes right on fine. Now, one thing you'll notice is right here on the corners, it is very close to the cover. And if you come on there, yeah, you got to make sure you wiggle it in between there in order for that to lock in place. But there you go. We have our bumper. So the clearance it brings does protect where you would be hit on the camera. So that doesn't mean that your camera is not going to take a hit, because chances are it will. Just because you have this bumper on doesn't mean that it's fully caged and fully protected. Anything could hit in between there like that. So, and then, excuse me. And then with these side braces, that doesn't mean automatically that you're not going to break your legs. It's just kind of gives you a little bit of insurance for when you do crash, because you probably will. So far I haven't, and that's just because I've only been in manual mode a little bit. So next, the very last thing is we're going to do the battery cover. And this is just a little silicone type cover. The feet are a little longer than what you see here on the battery. So hopefully they'll last. But basically this raised area locks on here. So once that's locked on there, it doesn't pull off. You got to spread it. So put the battery in the back. Let's see if it makes it any harder. Plug it in, cover that up. Yeah, I like that. So that's just a little protection, mainly for this portion of the battery. That's mainly what that is. There's a little protection there at the plug. So you have your power on right here. But all that's still functional. It's actually a nice grip, but just to show you, it's not going to come off in flight. It's locked on there, so it's good. And that covers everything. That's now I have my new Ronald McDonald DJI FPV, red and yellow. I don't know if I'm crazy about it or not, but it's all right. I guess it doesn't matter. It's going to be flying in the sky and fast enough to where I'm not going to see what color it is, because I'll be wearing goggles as well. So it doesn't matter. And that's it. That's everything. The only other thing was my little box for my props. All the old props are in here. So you just kind of plop them in there. It'll hold 4 props. These are all the stock ones. So if you have a whole bunch of props, you're going to want more of these. If you like to keep them all together nice and tidy. And the reason why I bought this, it's bulky and everything, but I shut my case and I had my props laying in there loose on one side. I shut my case and one of the props got closed down on by the lid, and it folded the end of the prop. So that's why I went with that. The only other accessory I have that I purchased, which we don't need to do anything with that, but it's something for you guys to keep in mind. It's just the battery holder for the goggles. It goes on the back here. I haven't attached it or used it yet, but I guess it just goes right there. I don't want to put that on. I can already tell you I don't want to put that right there. That's going to bother the back of my head because it's hard plastic. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I've seen other people use them, but I'm not sure I'm going to like that there. I think I'm going to like it. I don't know. I'll have to play with this, but on the back there, I think how they show it advertised, it would be this way, I guess. I don't think I'm going to like that at all because that hard plastic is going to be at the back of my head. I'm not going to fumble with this anymore. But that's going to be at the back of my head. The only other thing I have here that is an accessory is I put this in here to protect my lenses and then also to keep my antennas in place when not in use. Even if the case gives plenty of room, I don't leave these on inside the case. It's just too easy to break them. The next thing I probably will end up doing is upgrading antennas when I find the need. But I am just going to focus now on flying with these props. Unfortunately, manual mode is going to have to wait till spring. But I do have a FPV quad that I ordered that I'm very excited about coming soon. So that's the iFlight Nazgul. And I got the Dead Cat version, and I'll be using the Bind and Fly DJI controller with my DJI goggles. So I'm excited to have that one. That one I'll fly first for sure, and then when I'm comfortable doing so, we'll put this baby in manual mode and I'll go out and fly it. But definitely this one's going to wait till spring. This plastic, when it's really cold in the wintertime, it's even more fragile. It's going to break. It's going to be more brittle. I'm not going there. And not only that, we always have snow. So that's it. My little conversion on my DJI FPV. The rest is all just plain and simple. No bright colors or anything flashy. I like it that way. Maybe I'll change my mind later. But meet Ronald McDonald. Thank you guys for all watching, and hopefully this was useful to somebody. And if so, give that thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I appreciate that. And as always, hit that bell for future content and notification, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love.